Have you ever stopped to think that what's happening in your life, even the difficult moments, could be part of something much bigger? Many times, we are so focused on daily struggles that we fail to notice the clear signs that God is working in our favor. He is shaping your future, opening doors you never imagined, and preparing something incredible. But how do you know if this is really happening? In this video, we will explore 10 signs that prove God is shaping your future in a surprising way. If you feel stuck or are in the middle of a big challenge, pay attention. These signs may be what you need to understand that God is silently working in your life. With each new sign, you will realize that He is in control, preparing something extraordinary. So, if you want to know these signs and understand what God is doing in your life, stay until the end. Don't miss any part of this important content that could change your perspective. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this powerful message with more people who, like you, need this direction. If you are in need of help, leave your prayer request in the comments. We are here to pray for you. Let's discover together how God is transforming your life. Feeling stuck and the need for change. Many people experience moments when they feel as if they are walking in circles, trapped in a routine that no longer brings satisfaction. This feeling of stagnation could be one of the signs that God is about to act in your life. He allows this discomfort to grow so that the person begins to seek something beyond their comfort zone. It's like a bird in a nest. There comes a moment when the wings must be stretched to fly to new horizons. If someone feels this way, it's time to reflect on what this sensation is trying to reveal. When restlessness arises, it is important not to ignore it. Sometimes, God uses the discomfort in our soul to prepare us for significant change. He shapes the future by placing in our hearts the desire for something new, something bigger. Think of situations in life where discomfort was the start of a transformation. Perhaps changing jobs, moving to a new city, or even changing your mindset was the first step to an entirely new journey. Recognizing these divine signs is the first step to following the path God has prepared. Feeling stuck is actually an invitation for spiritual and personal growth. Often, God allows us to go through these moments so that we can align our desires with His will. A clear example of this is Joseph's life in Egypt. He faced moments of slavery and imprisonment before becoming a governor, and each stage was necessary to prepare him for the incredible future with God. It is essential to see these moments not as punishment but as part of God's divine plan to shape the future. Additionally, this feeling of being stuck is a sign that the person is ready for change. God never leaves us where we are when He wants us to move forward. If someone feels that things are at a standstill, perhaps it's time to ask, what is God trying to show me? This question can open doors to a new phase where spiritual transformation and God's purpose become clearer. Change often begins within us. Now, this feeling of being stuck also paves the way for the next step. The challenges we face can be used by God as tools for growth. They are like a sculptor's tools that, with patience and precision, shape a masterpiece. And this is where the greatest lessons occur. Challenges as instruments of growth. The challenges that arise in our lives are rarely welcomed at first glance. They bring discomfort, uncertainties, and often make us question the purpose behind so much suffering. However, it is essential to understand that God uses these difficult moments as powerful tools for our growth. Just as gold is refined in fire, humans are also shaped through difficulties, being prepared for the incredible future with God. Every obstacle overcome is a step closer to the divine plan, where spiritual transformation happens deeply and truly. It is common for people to see challenges as insurmountable barriers, but instead, it is important to see them as opportunities. God, in His infinite wisdom, allows us to face these moments so that we can grow. Think of a tree facing strong winds. The more it is shaken, the deeper its roots grow. Likewise, when we face adversity, we are deepening our roots in our faith and our relationship with God. These moments reveal that even in difficulties, a divine change is happening within us. When we look at biblical stories like David facing Goliath, we realize that challenges are not the end but the beginning of something greater. David was silently prepared by God in the fields, tending to sheep and fighting lions and bears. All this so that, at the right time, he was ready to face the giant and eventually become king. The challenges we face in life also have this purpose: to prepare us for the great work that God wants to do in us and through us. This is a clear sign that God is shaping the future, even when we can't see it right away. In the most difficult moments, it is essential to remember that God is present, guiding us every step of the way, using challenges to shape us according to His will. A practical way to deal with this is through constant prayer and seeking direction in Scripture. Books like The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan illustrate well how challenges, when faced with faith, lead us to new spiritual heights. This type of reading can help strengthen the belief that everything has a divine purpose. And so, as we overcome these challenges, we make room for new opportunities and changes in our lives that God is carefully preparing. And when this cycle closes, it is a sign that something greater is about to manifest. Restlessness in your comfort zone. The comfort zone, as pleasant as it may seem, is often a place of stagnation. When someone begins to feel a restlessness, a sense that what was once enough no longer satisfies, it is a clear sign that God is preparing something greater. This discomfort is a divine tool to push us toward a bigger purpose that goes beyond what we are used to. God shapes the future of His children by provoking this feeling, because He knows it is in uncertainty that we find our true potential. This restlessness is like the wind that stirs the sea. At first glance, it may seem like something bad, but it is through the waves that form that the boat advances. When someone feels this way, they should begin to reflect on what this internal agitation is trying to reveal. It may be that God is calling us to a new mission, a new purpose, something that requires us to leave the comfort of familiarity. Think of everyday examples, like when a person feels that their job no longer satisfies them. This feeling is a sign that change is coming, and it is necessary to pay attention to the divine signs pointing to this new path. God, in His wisdom, does not allow us to remain where we no longer grow. He wants us to advance in our spiritual and personal journey, and that is why He places this restlessness in our hearts. Imagine a bird that, even comfortable in its nest, needs to learn to fly. Nature pushes it, and soon it discovers that it can reach the sky. Similarly, the person feeling this restlessness must realize that there is an incredible future with God waiting to be discovered, and that He is guiding every step in this process. For those going through this phase, it is important to pay attention to God's voice and the signs He sends. Meditating, praying, and seeking divine guidance are ways to understand where this change is leading us. Often, God speaks to us through small signs, such as a new opportunity that arises or a person who enters our life to help us see things differently. These divine signs are precious and should not be ignored. Now, with this understanding, The next step is to observe how God closes doors and creates new paths. When a door closes, it is an indication that He is guiding the person to something even better. Closed doors and challenges. When a door closes unexpectedly, it can be a moment of frustration and uncertainty. Often, the first impulse is to try to understand why something that seemed promising suddenly no longer works. But it is precisely in these moments that God is working silently. Closed doors are clear signs that He is redirecting the path to something much greater. When someone faces a lost opportunity, it may be difficult to see the immediate purpose, but this is proof that God is in control and knows exactly where to lead each of us. God uses these closed doors to steer us away from what is not part of His plan. Just as a father guides his child away from danger, God protects us from paths that would not lead to spiritual growth or an incredible future with Him. A classic example of this can be found in the stories of people who lost jobs and, sometime later, found new opportunities that led them to much greater achievements. Divine provision never fails, but it manifests at the right moments, always according to God's will. When someone faces these challenges, it is important not to lose hope. It can be tempting to think that everything is going wrong, but it is in this moment that faith is tested. Instead of focusing on what was lost, it is necessary to open one's heart to new possibilities. Closed doors are often the beginning of a new journey, and God is preparing something that often exceeds human expectations. All it takes is trust that He is guiding each step, even when the path seems uncertain. There is also a practical aspect when it comes to dealing with closed doors. One way to face this phase is to be open to new learning and prepare for the next opportunity that God will bring. Books like The Power of Action by Paulo Vieira, for example, teach how to turn these moments of uncertainty into fuel for a new phase in life. The secret is understanding that God never abandons us. He simply redirects us to something more aligned with His purpose. And as new doors open, God changes our way of seeing things, as we will see in the next topic, where a change of perspective is a clear sign of His work in our lives. Change of perspective. One of the most powerful ways God uses to transform someone's life is by changing how they see the world around them. When we go through challenges, sometimes our vision becomes limited by suffering or confusion. But over time, God begins to adjust this perspective, revealing a greater purpose behind each experience. What once seemed like a loss or an insurmountable difficulty suddenly starts to make sense. This change of perspective is a clear sign that God is shaping a person's future and preparing them for something grand. This transformation begins from the inside out. It's like putting on new glasses. Suddenly everything becomes clearer, and opportunities that were once hidden start to appear. When someone finds themselves in the midst of a change in perspective, it's common to realize that old beliefs or habits no longer serve them. God gives us clarity to see things in a new light, revealing the path He has prepared. Think about moments in life when you started seeing a situation differently, realizing that what seemed like an obstacle was actually a blessing in disguise. This change in vision affects not only how we see challenges but also how we view our role in the world. God may change how we perceive our relationships, our goals, and even our character. He shapes us not only to bless us but also so that we can be a blessing in the lives of others. A practical example of this is when someone starts to understand that their pain can be used to help others. Many people, after facing great adversity, find a new purpose in sharing their experiences and helping those going through something similar. God is always working to expand our understanding of life and our place in it. The change in perspective is like a spiritual update, where our minds align with God's will and we begin to see the world as He does. Books like The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren are practical examples of how this transformation can happen. They help us understand that God always has a bigger plan, and that changes in how we view the world are part of this growth and alignment with His purpose. As our perspective adjusts, we begin to notice that the divine connections in our lives also change. People who were not part of our circle before begin to appear, bringing opportunities and new paths. Divine connections. At various moments in our journey, God places people in our path with a specific purpose. These divine connections do not happen by chance. They are carefully orchestrated to guide us in directions we might not have seen on our own. When we reflect on life, we can identify moments when a person appeared at the exact right time, bringing a word of wisdom, support, or an unexpected opportunity. These people are like tools in God's hands, used to bring us closer to His plan and prepare us for the incredible future with Him. These connections can come in many forms, whether through friends, co-workers, or even strangers who cross our path. It's important to be attentive to the divine signs that accompany these interactions because often, God answers our prayers through the people He sends to help us. A practical example of this is the story of Moses and his father-in-law, Jethro. Even though Moses was a leader of a people, he received valuable advice from Jethro, which helped him better manage his responsibilities. Similarly, the people God places in our lives have a fundamental role in our spiritual and personal growth. These connections not only help us but also challenge us to be better. God can bring someone into our life who pushes us to leave our comfort zone, to see our weaknesses, and to seek true change. It's common for these people to come at moments of transition when we are ready to take a new step but don't yet know which direction to go. That's why it's crucial to be open to these relationships and seek to discern the purpose God has in placing them in our path. Furthermore, these connections also play an important role in how we influence the world around us. Many times, God connects us with others so that we can be a blessing in their lives, sharing our own experiences and lessons learned. A clear example of this is the Apostle Paul, who always formed alliances with other Christians during his missionary journeys. Not only was he blessed by these connections, but he also became a great blessing in the lives of many, spreading God's word and teaching about His will. With these connections established, an inner peace begins to emerge, confirming that we are on the right path. Even when external circumstances are uncertain, this divine peace is a sign that God is in control. Peace amid uncertainty. The peace that comes from God is one of the clearest signs that we are following the path He has prepared for us. Amid the storms of life, when everything seems uncertain and out of control, this peace remains unshaken. It's something that goes beyond human understanding and often contradicts the circumstances around us. When someone experiences this peace, even in the face of challenges or changes, they can trust that they are at the center of God's will, being guided by Him toward an incredible future. This peace does not mean the absence of problems, but rather the certainty that God is in control of all things. It's like the feeling of being in the middle of a storm but knowing that the boat won't sink because the captain is trustworthy. When facing uncertainties, many may feel lost or anxious, but divine peace reminds us that even though we don't understand the full plan, we are in good hands. It's like walking on unknown terrain, but with the assurance that God already knows the way and is guiding us every step of the way. This peace manifests in practical ways in everyday life. For example, when we are faced with important decisions or moments of great challenge, we feel an inexplicable tranquility in our hearts. Even though external circumstances may be challenging, this inner peace gives us the confidence that we are on the right path. A classic example of this is the story of Daniel in the lion's den. Even surrounded by danger, he remained at peace because he knew God was with him. This same peace is available to all who trust in God. Divine peace also helps us make decisions with clarity. When a person is at peace, they can better discern God's signs and understand where He is leading them. This peace is an indicator that we are aligned with the divine will, and even when everything around us suggests we should worry, God grants us this tranquility as a reminder that He is in control. Books like The Peace of God by Billy Graham talk about the importance of cultivating this peace and trusting fully in God's plan. As we continue with this peace, we begin to notice that new opportunities start to emerge. These opportunities, often unexpected, are part of God's plan to take us to the next level. New opportunities. When God is in control, He opens doors and brings opportunities that we often didn't expect. These opportunities are more than mere coincidences. They are divine interventions that lead us toward the purpose He has planned for our lives. Sometimes these opportunities arise discreetly amid chaos and uncertainty, but when we look closer, we realize they are answers to our prayers and deepest desires. Every new opportunity is a piece of the puzzle that God is assembling to create an incredible future with Him. These opportunities can come in many forms. It could be a new job, a career change, an unexpected invitation, or even a new friendship. God uses each of these situations to shape us and prepare us for the next step. A practical example is when someone loses a job but soon after receives an offer that perfectly aligns with their skills and passions. This opportunity, as unexpected as it may be, is a clear indication that God is guiding that person's steps, putting them on the right path to fulfill His purpose. When these new opportunities arise, it is important for the person to be prepared to recognize and seize them. Sometimes, fear of the unknown can prevent someone from taking advantage of the opportunity that God has placed before them. But by remembering that God is in control and that He never gives us anything we can't handle, it's possible to face the unknown with courage and confidence. Books like Hidden Opportunities by Carlos Domingos provide real examples of how difficult situations can turn into great opportunities and how being attentive to divine interventions can change the course of our lives. These opportunities also offer us the chance for personal and spiritual growth. God uses these changes to expand our vision, teach us new lessons, and prepare us for greater challenges. As we embrace these opportunities, we grow in our faith, learn to trust more fully in God's plan, and see His hand at work in every detail. And the more we surrender to these opportunities, the more aligned we become with God's purpose for our lives. With new opportunities also comes the promise of divine restoration. God promises not only to open doors but also to restore everything that was lost in the process. This restoration is part of the divine cycle of transformation and growth. Divine restoration. In moments of great difficulty, it is natural to feel that we have lost something precious along the way, whether it be an opportunity, a relationship, or even hope. However, God has the power to restore everything that was lost, and He often does so in surprising ways. Divine restoration goes beyond simply recovering what was taken. It is a complete transformation that elevates us to an even better state than before. When someone trusts in God and follows the signs He places along the way, that person can be sure that restoration is coming, even if they can't yet see it clearly. The Bible is full of examples of divine restoration. Job, who lost everything, his family, his wealth, his health, saw God not only restore what he had lost but bless him with double. This story is proof that even in the most difficult situations, God works to bring restoration. In real life, this restoration can happen in many forms. A broken relationship that is renewed, a financial loss that is reversed with new opportunities, or even the healing of a deep emotional pain. When God restores, He does so completely and perfectly. For those waiting for this restoration, it is important to keep the faith and continue seeking God's will. Often, restoration doesn't happen in the time we would like, but it comes in God's perfect time. During this period, it is essential to cultivate patience and trust that God is shaping the future in a way that not only brings back what was lost but does so in an even better way. Books like Total Restoration by Andrew Wommack talk about how God acts in the process of healing and restoration and how unwavering faith is essential in this journey. Divine restoration also involves a process of internal healing. God not only restores what was lost materially, but also heals emotional and spiritual wounds that may have been opened during the process of loss. It is at this moment that spiritual transformation reaches its peak because the person realizes that God was always in control and that every moment of pain was actually a step toward a greater plan. This healing allows the person to feel renewed and ready to embrace what God has prepared for the future. With this restoration, God also confirms through clear signs that transformation is happening and that His hand is on every detail of the life of those who trust in Him. These divine signs, as we will see in the next topic, are the assurance that we are on the right path. Divine confirmations. When God is working in our lives, He doesn't leave us in the dark. Instead, He offers divine confirmations along the way, clear signs that we are on the right path and that His hand is on every step we take. These confirmations can come in various forms: an encouraging word from someone unexpected, a door that opens just when we need it, or even an internal feeling of peace and certainty. These divine signs are God's way of telling us, "I am here, and I am shaping your future into something incredible." These signs are not coincidences. They are God's responses to prayers and the trust placed in Him. When a person seeks God's will and surrenders their concerns into His hands, He responds with clarity. Think about moments when something seemed improbable, but suddenly everything fell into place perfectly. These are the signs that confirm God is guiding every detail. Often, these confirmations come at moments of doubt when we are about to question the path. It is at this point that God intervenes and gives us the certainty that we are heading in the right direction. Divine confirmations also serve as a reminder that even though we can't see the entire plan, God is in control. It may be difficult to see what He is doing behind the scenes, but He always gives us signs that He is working in our favor. A clear example of this is in the life of Gideon, who asked God for several signs to confirm his mission. Similarly, God offers us signs, big or small, so that we can have the confidence to keep moving forward, even when the road ahead still seems unclear. These signs also strengthen our faith. When we realize that God is truly present in every detail, our trust in His will and His plan becomes even more solid. When we encounter these confirmations, we should give thanks and continue seeking divine direction, knowing that we are being guided on the right path. Books like Walking in the Supernatural by Guillermo Maldonado talk about how God manifests these signs in our lives and how we can discern them and rejoice in the assurance of His presence. These confirmations not only bring us peace but also prepare us for the new opportunities and transformations that God is about to bring into our lives. As we observe these confirmations, we know that the divine plan is in action and that we are getting closer to living a future shaped by God. Now that you know the signs that God is shaping your future in an incredible way, it's time to reflect. How can you apply this knowledge to your life? God has a grand plan for each of us, but He also expects us to take actions that are aligned with that purpose. Are you paying attention to the divine signs? Are you prepared to act when new opportunities arise or when He closes doors that are not part of His plan? If this content touched your heart and helped you in some way, leave a comment below expressing your gratitude. And if you feel that you need more help on your journey, leave your prayer request in the comments, as we will be praying for each of you. Take the opportunity to share this video with others who need this message of hope, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep learning more about God's purposes for your life. Your transformation is in God's hands, but it begins with you.